Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. So, I, 18 male, have a half-sister, Elizabeth, 26 female. We share a mom. My dad became her stepdad when she was 5 or 6. Her dad is, or was, a deadbeat. She never knew him really. She did have his mom in her life for a while, until she died when Elizabeth was 7-ish. My dad really did his best to be a good stepdad and father figure for Elizabeth. My mom always hoped Elizabeth would grow to love my dad and consider him her dad. He went above and beyond from what I can tell for her. They also made sure she didn't feel replaced or ignored after I was born. But she always had some kind of disdain for my dad. Unless she wanted something, could get something from him. She would tell him that he was not her dad or parent. But if she wanted something, or if it was Christmas or her birthday, she would not call him dad, but would mention he wanted to be. She never gave a crap about me, and was coldly indifferent to me my whole life, with some honest dislike mixed in. I felt it. She admitted it. She told me constantly that we weren't real siblings, and she didn't give a crap about me. But she would play pretend when others were watching. There were times she really gave a good show, too. But when nobody was looking, her true colors shone through. Nothing changed when she became an adult. I don't think we have said a single thing to each other in the 8 years since she moved out, and we have been in the same room since then. My dad still does his best to be there for her, but she still treats him like he's a stain on her shoe. She got engaged a few months ago and told my dad this whole spiel about how he was there for her, etc., and how they weren't sure if they could afford a nice wedding, and she was wondering if he would pay. He said of course. She practically ran like her butt was on fire once she got the money. Then she announced that she had met her bio dad, and he would be father of the bride at her wedding, and my dad was a regular old guest. My dad took it all in stride, but my mom took it badly, and she cried when she realized Elizabeth had used him for money. She realized Elizabeth never once said she appreciated or was glad Dad had done all this nice stuff, just that he had. I wasn't mentioned in the invite for the wedding and never got my own, but when Mom asked, she said sure I was invited. That basically told me all I needed to know, but even before that, I didn't care if I was invited. I knew I wouldn't go. I told my parents. Mom was upset. She said we were so close, etc. I told her no, and pointed out how she has admitted to my face she doesn't give a crap, and how she hasn't said a single word to me since I was 10. My dad had his eyes open somewhat, but said he would still go. He still loves her, etc. I told him he should take a stand, given all he is to her is someone who buys nice things, not someone she cares about at all. My mom said that wasn't fair. We need to be there for the wedding. I shouldn't encourage Dad to stop caring. She said I'm behaving badly, like Elizabeth has. Am I the a-hole? I think OP is totally within her rights to not go to the wedding. OP was not invited. If OP's mom gives OP a hard time about it, OP should tell her that she doesn't feel as if she could possibly consider going to a wedding without an invitation from the bride. Of course, OP's dad should not enable OP's half-sister, but ultimately, it's not OP's place to try to sway or dictate her father's relationship with her. He's a big boy. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. FAFO13 says, not the a-hole, except for your mom and her other child. It's pretty ducking sad that your mother is choosing sides when it's obvious that her other daughter has mistreated everyone in her family. DAWO95 says, the time to take the stand has long passed. Even at the request of wedding funds was now appropriate. She wouldn't be this bad had they done something years ago. Not the a-hole, but all of you need to cut your losses, and your parents shouldn't leave her a dime. She is toxic as heck. No Ad 770 says, Elizabeth is an a-hole for sure, but you can't tell your dad what to do. I'm not really sure who this judgment is against, but it seems like it's between you and your parents. So I'm saying no a-holes. Your mom is a bit delusional about your relationship with your a-hole sister, but that's parents. Your dad is an adult and can decide for himself what he wants to do. I, 35 male, have a younger brother, Dave, 25 male, who was the product of my mother's affair. My mom was very unhappy and made a mistake that she still repents for today, but my father never really forgave her. When she confessed to him that the kid she was pregnant with was not his and promised that she was going to give it up to the bio dad, he forced her to keep it out of spite by saying that it was the only way he could take her back. This created a deep rift within their marriage because he never even appreciated the sacrifice she had been ready to make and held the affair over her head for the rest of his life. He'd been sick for a while now and passed away a few weeks ago. This was all very distressing for us as it is, but everything became much worse when we read the will. Dad left a bit for his sisters and then divided the rest equally between me and Dave. Dave already has a biological father and was never even adopted by my dad. They were close, but mainly because Dad had to prove some sort of point to Mom. But he was left a huge part of a big estate, while my mom got nothing. We talked to a lawyer who thinks we have a decent chance of overturning the will because of certain circumstances, and we'll definitely try. My mom hasn't worked for years, and she was left basically destitute, while Dave is going to get an inheritance from his bio dad anyways, so it's not like we're cheating him out of his birthright or anything. It's just extra money for him. I told my aunt my plans, and she started acting weird, but I didn't think anything of it. Today, we had a family Zoom meeting, including Dave, where everyone piled on me and Mom for this, and said some terrible things about her. Obviously, I'm considering going no contact with them now, but I want to know, am I seriously a jerk just for fighting for my mom? Dave might not be OP's dad's biological son, but it sounds like OP's dad raised him, and OP's mom did have an affair, breaking her marriage vows to her husband. She chose to get back with him and stay with him, even though it was clear he was still very bitter about the affair. This is a consequence of her choices. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Deleted user says, "You're the a-hole. It's what your dad wanted to do with his money. If you feel this strongly that your mom needs it, give her your share instead of giving away Dave's. Why do you think it's okay to give away Dave's money?" Winds of Winter Please says, "You're the a-hole. If it is so important to you to make sure Mom is taken care of, you might have first spoken to your brother about how you hope to take care of Mom, and maybe you two might have split your amounts to share with her. If not, just take care of your mom herself. You can do what you want with your money. It just sounds like you are the one that resents your brother for having another dad." She's a Villain says, "You're the a-hole. What sacrifice did your mom make? Have an affair and feel guilty? Get pregnant by another man? Your brother was raised by your father, making him Dave's father. Unless Dave's bio dad was present. Why hasn't your mom worked? Is she disabled? Stay-at-home mom? You kids are old enough to fend for yourselves, where she could easily get a part-time job." My wife, 38 female, call her Carol, and I were not yet married. We were together, and I bought a house about 13 years ago. She was basically living there. We have been married 10 years. We have 2 boys, 10, 7. Things have been fine, just family life. I've not cheated on my wife while we were married. A woman, 35 female, call her Shelly, who lives in our neighborhood. She is a friend these days. Her and her ex-husband bought a home basically around the same time. We met at various events, garage sales, etc. in the area. I had the house for a year, and I lost my job. Carol was de facto living there. She was staying with me for 20-plus days a month. She still technically lived at home. So I decided to get my insurance and real estate license, just in case I couldn't find work for an extended period of time. Shelly wasn't working either, so she kinda just tagged along and worked on getting one too. Well, over the course of 5 to 6 months, me and Shelly were fooling around a couple times a week. Shelly became pregnant. We stopped the situation. It never really occurred to us that it could be my child. We were using protection most of the time. So about 2 years later, Shelly and her husband split. He skips town, basically has had no contact. He came by during the holidays a few years back for a couple days. I understand he has no relationship with their son. He doesn't pay child support. Shelly, Carol, and I are all friends. We haven't revisited the relationship at all. I honestly forget it ever happened. Shelly ended up using her insurance license and real estate license. She makes ends meet. I didn't need it. I found a job working local school district, teaching and coaching some after-school sports. Carol is a veterinary assistant. Shelly was diagnosed with an aggressive form of ovarian cancer about 2 years ago. She fought, but finally decided to go into hospice. Her son basically is like a cousin to our boys. They aren't friends, but he plays on the same teams with them. He has been on family vacations. When Shelly goes out of town or has to work late, he stays at our house. Well, upon her choosing hospice, she decided to give guardianship to me and my wife, so that we can handle his affairs while they track down the ex-husband. There's been an ongoing joke we have 3 kids over the years, which was always funny, but I noticed the kid is pigeon-toed, like me, and has very distinct, very large front teeth that run in my family. My wife was surprised she gave us guardianship, but her reasoning was he wouldn't have to change schools. He knows the family. So I started getting nervous. I asked Shelly, is her son mine? She said she used to think no, but about 3 or 4 years ago, she started realizing I probably was. So we started discussing what's going to happen. Shelly said she has no interest of knowing who the father is or telling anyone about our relationship at this point. My marriage is okay. I don't want a divorce, but I'm basically backed into a corner. Shelly has her house and a life insurance policy. She wants the proceeds of sale to fund his college education and the insurance policy to help buy him a house. It's about $500K to $750K between the two. Depends on some final estate matters, however. So I get a paternity test on Shelly's son. It came back he is mine. We have about $10K and $14K saved for our kids' college, both. I am 100% sure this will end my marriage, and my newfound son could suffer financially. I view it I have 2 options. Divorce my wife. I take care of my son and co-parent with my other 2 children. Stay with my wife. Say nothing. View this as a windfall to my family. Use it to fund the other siblings' education and give our family some much-needed financial cushion. Would I be the a-hole here keeping this child secret from my wife, continue living with our children, or tell her the truth and go and live my life with my newfound son? Wow, OP is a horrible person. First of all, for cheating, and of course for wanting to steal from this poor child who is about to lose his mother. I understand why Shelly never wanted to know if the kid was OP's, or have OP in the kid's life as a father figure. I have no doubt OP knew earlier the son was his. He just didn't care until money was involved. Now the child is of some use to OP, so he can hide behind taking care of your newfound son. Punishing a child for your mistakes is among the lowest of the low. And now let's hear the community's opinion. OK East 8736 says, "You're the a-hole. First of all, you're an a-hole for cheating. Second of all, that money does not belong to you and your other kids. That is money for Shelly's son. Shelly's son. Third of all, using protection most of the time is not effective, but I figure you know that by now." Screwy Year says, "First off, you're the a-hole for cheating on your then-girlfriend and never telling her. This took away her freedom to decide whether you were marriage and parent material. Second, you're the a-hole for never considering this child could possibly be yours. You didn't always use protection, meaning there was a chance. Third, you're the a-hole for having both women remain friends. Please don't try to gaslight anyone with the 'I honestly forgot it ever happened.' Please. I'm sure you got a secret kick out of seeing them together. Fourth, you're the a-hole for wanting to enrich your family by stealing your son's money. He's losing his mother. She raised him as a single parent. Fifth, you're the a-hole for not considering telling your wife. You're starting to notice the similarities between you and this child. The guardianship doesn't quite make sense. What caused her divorce? Those wheels in your wife's head are going to start turning pretty soon, and she's going to figure things out." Red S. Author says, "You're the a-hole for not disclosing the truth to your wife. Don't you think she has the right to know the truth? You're the a-hole for planning to steal that kid's money. It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $1 million. It's his money. He lost his mother for it." So, my wife, 27 female, is really short-tempered, and she doesn't get along with my mom, 48 female, well. We have 2 apartments in the same building. I live with my wife in a 3-bedroom set, and my mom lives in a studio 1-room set, separately alone. Mom's divorced, long back, never married, no boyfriends, etc. It's the small things, like when mom's car needs repairs, servicing, or she needs to buy some home equipment or fix something, like connecting her phone to TV, etc. Mom always calls me, and I am her go-to person for all this. Sometimes mom borrows money, struggles to pay me back, so I just let her have it. Wife gets pissed at her because she feels like all these things my mom should do or learn on her own and shouldn't disturb me at all. Also, whenever I am out of city, either alone or with my wife, my mom calls me 1 or 2 times a day, and again this bugs my wife that mom shouldn't be so clingy, that she calls every day. Last week when I was out, mom had a fight at her workplace and she was crying, called me. My phone was off. She thought I am at my apartment, called my wife's phone, And geez, wife got mad at her. They both got into a big argument. Mom told her that she sacrificed her life, raised me all alone, and now she needs her son. Big mistake. Immediately, wife told her, if you aren't able to live on your own, need constant emotional, financial help, then you should go out and find a man for yourself, but leave my husband alone. To further insult Mom, wife even told her that she will pay for Mom's Bumble, Tinder membership if she wants, lend her money for Mommy makeover if she wants, but she should move out, leave us alone. Now Mom's mad at me, not at all talking. Swampy63 says, your mom is young. It's ridiculous that you are her universe. It's incredibly sad that she has not had a date since her divorce. She definitely needs some counseling. You're the a-hole for not setting adequate boundaries. Tyler Nadale says, you're the a-hole. Your mom treats you like a husband, not her son. There's absolutely no reason she hasn't been able to support herself and is constantly up your butt. I'm with your wife on this one. I would have left you to your mommy a long time ago. Just Always Curious says, you're the a-hole. Why would you bother getting married when you already have a relationship with your mom? You live with her, in the same building. When you're out of town, you talk at least once, if not multiple times a day. Whenever she needs help, whether it be fixing something or emotional support, you're always there. And you provide financial support to her, although she calls it loans that she never pays back. You can't have a healthy romantic relationship when you're in a codependent relationship with your mom. Your mom, who is only 48 and is still financially irresponsible, doesn't have friends she can go to for emotional support, and thinks because she was a single mom, she can make her son her everything, even if he has a partner. And why on earth do you think anything about this is normal?